All right, listeners. If you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. I'm not kidding. I looked around on many websites trying to figure it all out, and I was so intimidated. Then I found this site, and it just came easy. It has everything you need all in one place. Let me explain. Anchor has the tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcast, and more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally free. Who doesn't like free? All right, so here's what you have to do. Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Oh, fuck. I don't want to tell you how to raise your kids, Paula, but they got to wait an hour before they swim.
We don't follow that rule.
These kids just do whatever they want nowadays. I don't like it.
Welcome back. I'm your host, Chad.
Are you recording right now?
Yeah, I was.
You got to like
Sure was.
go.
Yeah. I kept waiting
I
to
could
see.
say something stupid.
Man, I kept waiting to
More
see if
than
you were
normal.
going to
That's
say
the whole
something
point.
really, really stupid. Yeah.
We could
Okay.
talk more about that pillow talk.
We don't want to talk about Pillow Talk. Today we're going to talk about jobs.
Your wife always wants to talk about Pillow Talk first.
I didn't even know what pillow talk was until just
Now
now.
you're intrigued since I've explained Pillow Talk to you. Go ahead there, Chad.
Like I said, I'm here with two people. I hate talking about jobs, but that's the topic at hand tonight. But luckily I have someone here with me that loves to talk about jobs to a point where it will make you sick. I mean, when you say, I don't want you to talk about your job anymore, and then you're around a group, this mother still talks about jobs nonstop. So I've got Dan here. Hey, Dan.
How you doing?
And I got the beautiful Mrs. Day.
Hi, Mr. Day.
Yeah, we wanted to bring a little bit of beauty to this table because me and Dan don't have it, right? We're all a little tired.
You're handsome.
We're all very tired.
Why are we tired?
I actually don't feel too
Well,
tired.
good job, but we had a what was it? Was it 6 hours?
5,
6
7,
hours.
8, 9,
6
10.
hour
It was
fantasy
6 hours.
football draft last night.
It was so much fun, though.
It was fun, but we drank too much.
I didn't drink too much.
I didn't drink at all. Well,
That's true.
I had a beer.
Did you have a beer?
I did have a beer. I had
Wow,
a
Jim
Coors
Coors.
Light.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's been not a Budweiser, but
Stop
I did
doing
have a
that.
beer.
I mean, how many times we got to tell you? Yeah.
There's so many rules
It's very
to these things.
sensitive.
We need a
Very
real studio.
sensitive.
Dan, do you love your job?
No.
Have you ever had a job that you actually did love?
Yes.
Yeah. What was it?
Being a cashier, and when I was at Albertsons like 20-some years ago was good. Hold on. Technical difficulties.
Great. Good job. Give him something else
Hold
to
on.
mess up here a little bit more.
Hold on.
I was just trying to help him out.
Yeah, that didn't work.
Thank you.
So
Thank you,
cashier.
Paula. I enjoyed that. And I loved running the sander at the mill. That was great until the recession hit and I had to go back driving Heister because we didn't run it on Graveyard no more. There's good and bad to every job.
Do you think that it's important to actually love your job?
I do, but I just keep searching for that. I'm content currently with my job.
Interesting.
You're
Miss-
content, but you said you didn't like it.
I never said I didn't like it.
I thought that's what he said.
No, it's busy. It's keeping me busy.
Listen, he's being recorded right now, so he's got to speak. You know, the corporate line here.
I've never said I didn't like it.
Walk the line.
We have at least 35
I-
listeners. I'm sure none of them are at his work, so I don't think that's
No,
going to
that's
matter.
not true. That is not true.
Mrs. Day, do you love your job, and do you think it's important to love your job?
Do I love my job? I like it. Love, I would say, love's a really strong word. It's like love and hate. Those are both really strong words. So I'm content. I like my job.
I would
It
say
pays
you're
the
content.
bills.
We talk about this.
Yeah.
We're both content.
It pays the bills. I've been there for a long time, and so I've established I've established myself there, and it's just comfortable, you know. And with having a family and so busy life with the family and the kids and everything, it's the last thing I want to worry about right now. It's like a new job or new challenges in my career per se. So
You just stumped Dan. He's never been comfortable with the job or
yeah.
content before.
What was your second question?
Hold on. We never had these conversations when I worked at Boise the first 10 years of my time there. And I do like my job, and I'm content with my job, and I'm enjoying something different. And the shift is great with being on days now. But I had to move 2 hours away. That is not the greatest part. If it was here in Medford, that would be really nice.
Who is it, by the way, at your work that you would think listens to this podcast?
There's a few people.
Well, do they want to sponsor?
No.
No. We're not looking for much. We're not greedy.
What was your second question?
Do you think
Do I
it's
love my
important to
job?
love your job? We have these conversations a lot.
I think it helps. I mean, I think it's important to be content or somewhat like your job. I would not. I mean, I have been in situations to where I just did not like my job and I got out of it because it's not worth it. It's not whatever trouble or whatever it is that you're not liking. It's not worth feeling like that, putting yourself through that. So I think it's important that you do like it. I don't think you have to love it.
I agree. I don't think you have to love it. I just think you don't have to hate it. That's kind of my view. Because with me, I don't love my job, but I don't hate it. There's a lot of things we've talked about before that our jobs, both of us, allow us to be able to get off work early. If we want to start early, we can do that. We can get off early. We have weekends off.
Very flexible.
Those
yeah.
kind of things matter to me where, you know, it doesn't really matter the career necessarily or the pay. I mean, there are benefits to both of our jobs, but yeah, I don't think I hate that when people say you have to love your job. I mean, maybe you could just love what you do after your job. And that's the one thing that I never talk about. You know, the reason I hate talking about jobs is because, and don't shake your head, you'll get a chance here. But you do your job to make money, to provide so that you can do fun stuff after you're done. And that's why I don't like talking about my work when I'm not at work. That's the furthest thing from my mind.
I think sometimes it's important to talk about it, though, especially with your spouse or a close friend or something, you know?
Maybe if you're struggling, but my best friend talks about his jobs over the last few years way too much, and it's not helpful to anybody.
And I agree with that. The last few years have been a roller coaster. So, but you also have a lot of hobbies and interests. Your girls, it's not that important to you, which I very much wish I could get there. I put
What do you
kind of
mean? What do you mean you wish you could get there? Have kids and have hobbies?
I don't have hobbies and I don't have kids.
But you could have both.
No, but it's
You like football. That's a hobby. You like watching
Well, he
football.
did, and now
You
he's
like
just
fantasy
getting
sports.
now he's just getting pretty pathetic with football. He probably won't come watch football at all.
I will come watch football.
Well, we had a couple other
The whole
people last
reason
night
for
said they'll
you-
come over here now.
Yeah.
I didn't like
You're
that. You're the
yelling
one
at
inviting
him for making
everyone.
noise, and you're over there shaking your ice.
It's a sound effect.
Yeah, you're the one inviting everyone here. You know I don't like that. That's our thing.
All right, Mrs. Day.
Do you need Elvis back?
No. No, I'm good.
Mrs.
I'm
Day,
resituating.
would you be happy if you were able to retire from your current job?
Would I be happy?
Yeah.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't be happy?
Well, I'll bet you I know somebody. Dan, if you could stay to work, so we're all around the same age. Me and Dan are almost 40. You will be 40 this year.
what are we doing for your 40th
Yeah.
birthday, Dan?
What do you want to do?
Probably either weight loss surgery or triple bypass. One of those two is
Oh,
going to be
come
what's
on.
coming.
Cool. Your current job that you're at right now, say you could retire, 25 years? Is that something you'd like to do?
No.
Retire in 25 years?
Well, retire at his current job.
Oh, retire like with the company?
Retire with that company.
Oh,
I
is
would
that-
like to do that. I think I have at most one more move left in me. I like the job.
I've been hearing this one move in me
I know.
for a few moves.
You know it was
lately.
hard for me to move over there. Can you agree to that? I gave myself shingles stressing about it.
A little background with Dan.
Oh, yeah, you gave me
I
anxiety.
was just getting
Talking
content
about
and
it.
staying where I was at and just
And poor
it is what
Marlena.
it is. And my
Who's
wife,
on the
yes,
poor Marlena in the poor Marlena club? Because
Yeah, a little background. Dan likes to move around a lot over the last few years. He's taken quite a few jobs and quit, and he always wants to do the better thing. The running joke now that we used to have was he always wanted to change the world. He wanted to make a difference.
No, I saved lives.
I kind of get that sometimes, though, because like sometimes being at my job, sometimes I feel like I could just disappear, be invisible, and no one would notice or care at times. But then there's other times to where I feel like, oh, okay, I feel like I am an important part of the team, you know? And I'm not that type of person who needs to be patted on the back all the time or rewarded or recognized or anything like that. But
I took this job, I believe, when I saw the company and the people that I could help them. And I do like, it's a challenge. And I get bored easily, and I don't do well bored. So I was like, can we help them? If I won the lottery tomorrow, I would probably start businesses and different things and do some different things. You would go travel, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's what most people would do. I would get bored, and I would rather try to.
I guarantee I could keep you. I could keep you busy and not bored. We would come up with a routine, and we would reach your goals.
Yeah, I guess since we're saying that, that wasn't one of the things I was thinking about. But if you won the lottery, you think that you would continue to do some sort of
work
job?
Yes.
You do, Mrs. Day? Because there's no way in hell I'm going to do any kind of work. I'd find plenty of hobbies and things that I could do. I could do plenty of community service and coaching and things like that.
Yes.
Without having a business.
Agreed. 100%.
So I think that's crazy that people would ever go back to work. I don't think you'd be motivated enough to do it. Like you say, what would be the business that you would think about?
I would like to see like businesses that I think like when I go in that I'm like they're kind of struggling or they could use some help, and like getting them. I'm pretty good at like using my resources or using my people I know. Like how could we help them? How can we make this profitable or help the organization, or I don't know. I got a lot of the wheels are always spinning in my head, so that's a bad thing. You know that I can't like focus.
You can never shut your mind off.
Right. I don't sleep much. I
guess the thing that sucks about that is you don't even own your business. That's the one thing.
No, I make money
for
someone else.
Right, and that's I guess, babe, like you said. Sometimes you think if you left, would anybody even notice? I've never even thought that one time in my life because I could care less. Yeah, my company would continue to go on. They'd be just as strong without me.
Yeah. No, and I think everyone's replaceable for sure.
Absolutely.
It's just nothing that I've ever even thought about or care about.
I think every once in a while, like I said, I'm not the type of person who needs to be recognized constantly or patted on the back or anything like that. But I would just say like every once in a while, and they do a good job of doing that at my work. But so it's like almost like when I'm feeling not so motivated or whatnot, then something like that happens, and it's like, oh, okay, I feel good again. So
I think a big part of me too, though, is also the loyalty that comes in, and people will be like, oh, he has no loyalty. I don't have it to the company. That's just a name. I have it more to the people that I've worked with and helped.
Absolutely, I agree.
I wouldn't have been back here at Medford if it wasn't for the current boss where I'm working at now. He's the one who brought me back here, and when he left and went over to the coast and, hey, I need some help, there was part of me that, feels obligated to go help. I mean, it's my decision, and I could have said no, but I think I can learn some stuff from the guy. I think it'll help me grow. I hope it does. It's just, I do miss the comfort of being in my hometown, and I miss my house and my wife and lots of things to consider. Luckily, she could work from home, and you guys were gracious enough to let her stay here, a couple days a week. So
I was wondering when you were going to mention that you miss us, but thanks, asshole.
So do you think
I miss you too. I've spent all weekend. Jesus.
Do you think it's worth all? You're saying all these things. Is it worth?
No. I don't think it's. I don't think.
Well, why do it then if it's not worth it? That doesn't.
I'm worried that it's not worth it, but I'm committed. I'm gonna run this and see where this goes.
Right. We're not saying you're gonna quit your job, so stop being so fucking defensive.
That's
not where we're going at here.
This
isn't an attack, Danny.
No, is it worth it? No, but it's who I am. I feel like when we went up north, I really felt bad because I'm like, Marlena liked working, where she worked down here at the surgery center. So, now she has to move, and I never really put her into consideration of what that would do to her.
You're so selfish.
I am. I'm a very selfish guy.
Selfish, self-centered.
I'm sorry.
Man, there's so many names. Hey, you said something about incentives and pat on the backs. We've had these talks. Is that something that's important to you? And what is? Because I know my boss couple of years ago asked me what would be something that would be a good incentive for me, because I do sales. So they're like, what could we use? And he kept saying, maybe we'll get you a brand new jacket. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
So I said, he's like, what do you want? I said, money.
Yeah, just more money.
Gift cards, whatever
yeah.
you want. And he was baffled by that. And that's crazy to me. He kept saying, well, no, anybody could have a gift card or money. That's not real personable. I said, you asked me what would make a big deal in my life. It's money. I have plenty of jackets. I have plenty of sweatshirts and hats. That's not what I need.
Well, and honestly, if we want something like that, we will just go get it too, type of thing. But I think when they offer you a gift card or more money, more money is the biggest incentive, in my opinion, because you can put it towards vacation or your retirement or whatever it is.
Yeah, like your bonus at work.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a huge
get a yearly
thing.
bonus, which
Awesome.
is really great. But even if they told me like, oh, we want to give you a raise, it's like, wow, thank you. Like, you feel appreciated, like you feel wanted, and like they really want you there. And I think that's the best thing. And gift cards, when you said too, like they're not that personable. How many times have I told you that, with getting gifts for people? Oh, it's so-and-so's birthday. What are we going to get them? And Chad's like, just give them money. Give them a gift card. And I've said that exact thing. That's so unpersonable. I want to give them something personable, quote unquote, per se. Like I want to pick out some new pajamas for Dan because I think he would benefit from new pajamas.
New pajamas for Dan.
I don't know. I'm just saying that as an example. Like
She's
pick
back
out
on
an
that pillow
item,
talk
pick
thing.
out something specific.
That ain't ever been any part
Because
of the
then it
pillow
makes me
talk.
because I like it when people do that for me. I mean, I love gift cards though too. I get excited about gift cards, but then if someone gives me a really personable gift, like a basket of goodies, and it has some of my favorite things, I'm like, wow, they really pay attention. They know a lot about me. And that means a lot to me too.
If they give me a basket full of cash, I'm going to be thinking that's
We need
fantastic.
to get her some pajamas for Christmas.
Yeah.
All the
Get her
listeners
some
start sending
pajamas,
her
get
some
me a
pajamas.
bucket full of cash. How about you? Do you feel...
I don't think money
'Cause I
is
know
the
this is-
driving motivator, no.
You don't. That's
don't.
interesting.
You know what's really interesting about it is Dan's been telling me about some of the things that he's been doing for some of the employees and trying to get. And the
Hey,
number
just
one
like
thing was
throw
gift cards,
at
right?
them.
Okay.
So, all right.
Gift cards, yes, I do think it helps. Coats. We're getting them coats. Yeah. It's different things.
What's the things you're always fighting over, though? Pay raises, right?
People need to be
You
paid.
mention all the time they need to be paid higher. That's always like the number one
Right.
thing. I don't hear you say, hey, they need some coats first.
But hold on.
Some swag.
Pay, obviously, because you have to be able to live comfortably. What's the point of working 6 days a week, 12 hours a day just to... So you need to be paid right. I do think, though, does that help it? And this is from, I guess, a management perspective.
Oh, okay, Mr. Manager.
I'm just saying, if you're a bad employee at $10 an hour, you'll be a bad employee at $100 an hour. So money, let's say, wouldn't be a motivator. And if you're running a business, you're thinking of that. It definitely helps. It can keep good one state, and people should be paid fairly for what they do and can contribute. But it also, I think, just goes from a simple thank you. We appreciate you. Mm-hmm. Making them feel valued. Most people want to feel important. Most people want to feel like if they said something, it would matter.
But what do you
And
think
not
the
just
majority of people feel valued from? A slap, a slap on the
No,
back?
I
Because
agree.
if you tell me thank you, you're doing a great job, I'd be like, cool, what do you got else?
Cool story, bro.
Who's going to think, oh, thank you. God bless you,
I get that.
manager.
There's an old saying like, "Oh, we'll throw them a pizza party," right? That's just old school crap. There's different ways to do that. You can, again, pay helps. I know I've read that before. If you make over like 70,000, once you hit 70,000, the money isn't going to matter. You can live comfortably.
Yeah,
now,
that was what your brother commented
now
on our
with
blog.
inflation, that's still not that much.
I don't know how. So he said that, and that's great if you feel that way. But I don't know how you could ever put any number. Everybody's got a different goal and a different number.
Absolutely, and that's what I'm saying. The money
Right.
thing, if you take someone from minimum wage and put them to 50,000 a year, they could think that's great. Another guy thinks that that's just chump change. So everyone has a different value of what they feel is important.
That's true.
My current role, when you figure it all out at the end of the day, I'm making less money than I did here. So was money the driving factor for me uprooting my life? No.
You want to make a difference in this
If
world,
it was a
don't
financial
you?
decision, I wouldn't be one in Medford, and I wouldn't be where I'm at now.
Okay.
Do you
well,
feel like
going-
you're making a difference?
I hope so.
Right.
It sounds like you are.
Going right into that, then this is for you, Dan. Why do you feel the need to change jobs so often in the last couple of years?
Going to TP was a big. I finally, it was hard for me to leave Boise. I've been there for so many years. So once I finally made that change, I have that thing where I think it is kind of easier to leave. The company I went for, TP, great company. I just never could find like a footing there. I just kind of always was pushed on the sidelines, being bored, just hang out, relax, big dog. I'd hear that time and time again.
So you want to feel like you're being productive. You want to be
Right.
busy.
He
like
wants a
you're doing
slap on
stuff.
the back. Good job, Danny.
Maybe that's true. I don't know. I just want to feel like I'm being productive, and I need to feel like somehow I'm being challenged. I don't do well.
Yeah.
I'll just flounder. I'll just flounder.
Trying to keep your head above water.
I loved the job going up north, but COVID, everything, myself, Marlena, getting homesick. There was a lot of factors that came into that play.
Marlena getting homesick. So you moved away. She got homesick. You moved back. You moved away again.
And she was a hard no on it.
Fool me once, fool me twice.
She was a hard no on me going to the coast.
The good news is that it's a little bit closer.
It is,
And she was
2
able to
hours.
keep her job
And she was
here.
able-
And she has a home base here. So hopefully that will keep her from feeling homesick.
I wanted her to stay here, and I would stay there, and I'd come home on the weekends. She did not like that. She wanted to come along. She didn't
I
want to
don't
be-
blame her.
And I don't blame her either, but I think that would have been easier for probably all of us had she had done that. But she wanted to come and be with me on this journey. And I mean, it's great having her and my dog, but I just wanted to give it some more time to make sure that this is where I'm going to
Yeah.
be for more of a long term, let's say.
I get that to a certain point, but also, just being married in a relationship, I can't imagine Chad saying, "Hey, I'm going to go check out this job over here and I'm going to commute back and forth and make sure it's a good fit for me." I can't imagine doing it. I would want to be there with him to support him. And
Absolutely, and everyone's differently. But
Yeah.
you guys have always worked day shift together. I've
You're
worked
right.
off shifts. Like I told her, what happens if they moved me to swing? I would only see her on the weekends. What if I was a truck driver?
but you're not.
But I'm not. But I'm also very much if I'm not happy, I'm going to take my ball and go home. And I don't know whether that's good or bad, but to sit there for how many hours a week, and if you're not happy, why keep doing it?
Right. Yeah. No, and that's what you were saying. If you're not happy doing something, you can change it. You don't have to love it, but you want to somewhat like it so you can enjoy it. I mean, it's like your second home at work. We spend at least 40 hours at work. I don't know. How many hours do you put in at work?
It varies between 40 and 70, depending on the week.
Yeah.
It's nice having some of the flexibility that you have. That has been nice. So yeah, it just depends on, I guess, the person and kind of what they want. But I'm curious again, just to kind of see where this goes.
It's going to go to a great place and you're going to change lives.
You're going to change the world.
Shut up.
Change the world.
Maybe you can. So what's the longest that you've ever been at a job at?
17 years.
Well, that's a long time.
What's the longest any of you have been in a job at?
I
12.
just had my 12-year anniversary.
Okay, so again, I'm the one who changes job all the time. I've been with the little company the
Do you
longest.
see how defensive he's getting
I'm
right
just
now?
saying.
As if he thinks that he's being picked on here?
Well, because again, I listened to it from my old boss last night. I was fine being at TP,
What have I always told you? You got to do what's right for you.
and that's
just
what
like
I decided
we
to
did.
do. So
We've always done that.
I feel like I get
It
kind
can
of
be hard to come. I mean, you and I are both pretty sensitive. So
And,
when people are kind
Yeah.
of
So
Hold on,
Listeners.
hold on. I'm also very much. I don't care if you're there for 6 months, a year. If you can help us, help us. If you're getting paid to do a job, do. That company don't owe me nothing, and I don't owe them nothing. We have a deal. I work, and do this. They pay me this much. It's just, if I want to leave and come back, what's the problem with that? A lot of people think that's a problem, and that's fine. I don't.
yeah, we're
Well, they-
actually not in disagreement here.
you don't think that that would consider you to be unreliable?
No. I think, again, I'm willing to take a risk. I don't see if you want to sit there and play safe for the company, and that's fine. And everyone has, kids, family, whatever makes them tick. But just coming in to help for a while and leave. Look at the NFL. Are they unreliable if they go from one team to the other, or any kind of thing like that? They can still produce. They can help while they're there. And they're getting paid a certain amount of dollars to perform.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
What were you going to say about us? Sensitive Sally's over here.
I think, what did you say that you're both? Sensitive, yeah.
Sensitive Sally's.
Oh my God. Listeners.
I'm not sensitive, I'm defensive.
The two most sensitive people that I've ever known in my life turned out to be my best friend and my wife. The two people that call me 4 to 6, 7 times a day.
Different. I'm not sensitive.
Excuse me,
my
last
best friend and my wife.
I'm needy.
Needy, okay.
Not sensitive.
Well,
Both,
you're arguing
actually.
about being
stop
sensitive.
it.
You're actually arguing about being I'm not sensitive.
No, I said I am
I'm not
sensitive. I admitted
Well,
it.
We know you are. I mean, but your sensitivity is just different from Dan's. Dan looks at the word sensitivity and he's like, okay, that means you're crying all the time.
No.
That's not what it is. Dan's as sensitive as anybody else. He just doesn't cry. Yeah, you can't even say
I only
anything
called
about
you
it.
twice, like last week. It was either Thursday, Wednesday, or
she's
Thursday.
not
I think I
gonna
only
call you
called
no
you
more.
twice.
Is that why you called me 9 times in last week? You had to fill it some way?
Okay, next question. Worst job you've ever had? I'll go first while you two think about this. I think you know about this, Dan. I worked for...
Oh, God.
I'm not
the
going to...
linen?
Yeah, the linen place.
Oh, God.
And I only did it for 2 days because you had to start at 4 in the morning, which at that time when I was that age was ridiculous. There was no
How old
way.
were
I mean,
you?
17, I think.
Was that the one in White City?
Yeah. No, we can't say that. They're going to sue us.
Oh, yeah. They offered me to be
it's the
manager
one-
there.
yeah.
I turned that one down.
So basically, my job was, so they did all the soiled linens for all the hospitals and retirement homes and all that. Well, I guess not retirement homes, hospitals, mostly doctor's offices. And so I had this cart, this huge cart that I had to push, and I had to push it to a conveyor belt.
Little
full
skinny
of ladies, little me, full of ladies. And once I gave them these big trash bags of soiled linen that had shit and piss and blood and
I remember that place.
sperm.
So I took a
mean,
tour.
God knows what was in this. So I would give them the bag. They'd soil out. And so their job was worse than mine. Their job was to soil out what was too bad to be washed.
Sort out.
Yeah. The stuff that they couldn't wash anymore and had to be thrown away.
Ew.
So that's what they did. They just picked up all this shit and piss all day long.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
And they paid like crap, I remember.
Oh God, it was minimum wage.
Yeah.
And it was a full-time job. I guess at that time it would have been all right. But then they're like, yeah, you got to get a tetanus shot. I'm like, fuck that. I'm not getting a tetanus.
I'm out. So you lasted 2 days.
If this is 2 days, yeah. I'm like, if this is my future, then I might as well slit my throat right now.
I figured you'd say that one. I thought you were going to
Shit
say
sorter.
that.
That's what I call
I
that
hope
job.
that one of your
Shit
listeners
sorter.
isn't working there and been there 30 years.
They're like, hey, man, this is a great job. I love shit.
Best job
sorting
I've
out
ever
shit.
had.
The other story I thought was funny when you told me about trying to work construction when you were that age and how you just couldn't work like that, or you were pretty small at the time,
When
I
did you
guess.
work
Not very
construction?
strong.
Yeah. So
What'd that last? Like half a day or
Yeah,
something? I don't remember that one.
basically.
So my dad got me a job. Oh yeah, that was 2 days too. Not quite 2. Actually, that wasn't quite 2
I don't
days. That was a
remember
day
that
and a
one.
half. So I was 15, I think, 15 or 16, right after I dropped out of school. And my dad got me that job with one of the customers, and I go out. And the first day we laid, the foundation was laid, so we laid the first subfloor. And so
His wife needs to help him out with
I was
that.
120 pounds. And it was me
Skin
and
and
one other
bones.
guy, and we did this probably 2,000 square foot home. And I had the 4x8 sheets of plywood. He's like, yeah, just pick it up like this. I'm like, what? I literally couldn't pick the 4x8 sheet up on my shoulder, so I'm dragging it. He's like, hey, that ain't going to work.
There's a technique
messing up.
to doing
He's
that
like,
without like putting much muscle.
there
into
was
it.
no technique
There
when
is
I
a
was
technique
120
to do it.
pounds with no
Little girls can do
incentive
that
at
where I
all.
work.
because it was $7 an hour to be out there in the summertime.
Oh, screw that.
So I'm trying to walk on, the floor, and I'm dragging it, ruining the corners, and I fall down into the foundation a couple times, and I could see the guy that's looking back at me like, what's going on? And he's like, you're not going to make it. I'm like, yes, I am. I can do this. So we laid the whole floor down, and then he's like, okay, here's how you nail it. Well, you would think at 15, 16, I'd be in pretty good shape. Bending down with the nail gun on that whole house after not being able to pick up 30 sheets of plywood. So for some reason, I'm like, all right, I got to give this one more day. Go the next day, and then we're... you know better than I do, but when you're laying the siding, you're putting the siding on the side of the house, So he shows me how to do this, and I try to lift this fucking thing up, and I can't even lift it off the ground. And I'm like, I got to go get a drink of water, and I just bolted.
But that's bad training. You could do it with one finger if you do it right. There's a technique to how to do that.
Okay, cool.
Oh my God.
It's a trick.
You literally just escaped. You made a run for it. You didn't even
I didn't say anything. I just got in my Impala, and I was out of there. Boom. Done.
Wow.
Yeah.
You should have came and poured concrete with me.
I wouldn't have made it.
That'd have been fun.
I wouldn't have made it.
There's tricks to everything.
I still can't do it.
I was going to say, I think you could do it now.
I don't know. My body's starting to break down at
I know,
39 doing what I'm doing.
Now.
I mean, my heel hurts, my back hurts, everything's starting to hurt. I'm 39.
You need to get a pedicure so they can bang your heels.
Oh, you like that? You like that on your foot? Have you ever seen this? Have you ever gone into a place where they're doing pedicures?
No.
Dan loves feet.
There's a certain group of people that are doing this job
during massages. So
yeah, you have different types of things. That's not for this episode. But yeah, they go in and they get to your heel, and then they just bang the bottom of your heel with their foot. Oh, you like that? That's
no, with their hand. They use their hands.
Oh, Paula was telling me what they do. And
your heel.
Oh, you like that?
Did you like it?
It actually feels good.
No, I haven't done that.
We should have Marlena do it.
I would.
I'm not going to touch your feet. I don't want to touch anybody's
nice feet for a fat guy.
Hey, put your foot up on the poker table.
No, I just don't.
I'd break your poker
table. I know, you can't get your foot up. Worst job ever, Dan.
Worst job ever was a job I got paid the most money in my life. I worked there 7 days, being second in charge there, and the way they treated their employees, the way they talked to them, belittled them, I didn't like it. I didn't like it one bit. I was there 7 days, walked in at lunchtime, left, going from a lot of money to $15 an hour, knowing what I was going to do, because I didn't like how they were treating the people. That was my worst job.
I haven't really had a lot of jobs in my life.
Wait a minute.
But I would say the worst job.
She hasn't had a ton.
She hasn't had a ton, but she's had at least, 3 come to mind.
Well, that's
probably
not a lot.
5. That's not a lot.
I mean, you've had 3 in the last year.
I did when I was one of the first jobs.
5 in the last 2 years. Okay.
One of the first jobs I had was kind of bussing tables, and I was too young to kind of be a waitress, but I don't know. I just felt like the cleanup person, and I mean, I was the cleanup person. I just didn't really like that. I felt like Cinderella.
I started washing dishes when I was 12 at a restaurant, and I enjoyed that.
I mean, it was mindless.
Wash the dishes.
It was the first job.
It's a mindless job,
some money.
It's hard. That is a hard job.
It wasn't necessarily hard, but I just didn't like it.
That was your worst job?
Yeah.
I was a shit sorter. I can't even say it without PTSD.
I did go to school. I did go. Oh
my God. I had to bust tables. I had to sort out busting tables, piss and shit and cum and who knows. Yeah, they come too.
That's pretty shitty, literally. I did go to school to be a dental assistant, but after I completed the school and tried to do some on-the-job training and observing and stuff and nearly passing out, I realized that I couldn't do that. So that was pretty gross, like looking in people's mouths. I don't know what I was thinking or why I even went through that.
Oh my God.
I was just...
Tell the listeners the story when you had me as your little guinea pig.
Oh, yeah. So when I went through dental assistant school, we had to do... we had to pick several people to come in to take x-rays of their mouth in order to pass the x-ray portion. And so several people came in, and I didn't have any problems or anything. Chad comes in, and I'm trying to place the, I don't even know what you call it, but place the little thing in your mouth to do the x-rays and everything. And I'm telling Chad, open your mouth. Okay, you got to do this. You could, open a little bit wider. And he finally is like, I can't open my mouth any wider. I'm opening my mouth as large as I can, as big as I can. And he's barely opening it. And I look inside, and he has the tiniest mouth I've ever
You got a little
seen.
mouth,
Yeah,
boy.
I can only fit a couple dicks in this mouth.
No, you couldn't even fit one.
I could probably fit mine. I mean, come on.
Well,
Well, that's like a half of it.
Seriously.
but it was just, you just had to be there. It was just so funny because I was just telling him to open, and I'm like, okay, open as wide as you can, then bite down. And he couldn't hold the x-ray there. You don't have to
We know why
hold
she's
it
no
for
longer a
few
dental
seconds,
assistant.
and
She didn't pay attention to half
I also,
obviously.
do you remember I had really bad gag reflex
Oh,
back
yeah,
then?
that was the other thing. So when you're
between
putting
me-
the bite wing thing back there.
Dan, you should have. So there was me, and then there was this other girl at the other chair. So
he
you'd have me
heard
go.
her
You'd have me
gagging.
going, and then you'd hear her going, and then like, and then,
Then Paula decided, what was that when you went baking or surgery center?
baking.
Baking.
What the?
Oh, banking.
Jesus Christ, banking. No, she was banking first. She fucking hated that job. I don't know why.
No, I liked it for a long
Man, you
time.
complained every day. Yeah, you did, but then you started complaining
the
every day.
second half of
Yeah.
it, most definitely. When I started banking, I was 16. I thought it was cool because I was a junior in high school, and I felt like I got a really cool job at a bank because I didn't have to do fast food or anything like that. I was considered an intern, but they still paid me for it. So
You pretty people get all
I
the
thought that was really
perks.
cool. So I took advantage of that and loved it. And I tried to move up, my career and progress in the company, but I just didn't like the sales part of it. I realized that sales was not for me. But I learned a lot. I learned a lot about customer service. Oh my gosh, so much customer service. That's really tough. That is so hard. And dealing with people's money.
I know.
Dealing with people's money is very, very difficult too at times.
It always amazes me when people get pissed that they ask for your driver's license.
Oh yeah. Or wait, what? I'm overdrawn?
we're being
How
too
much am I
safe.
overdrawn? Why am I overdrawn? And then
Especially in
it's
today's
just-
age where everybody should be doing it online or on their phone, I would think, but a lot of people still don't.
So I'm happy. I don't regret not doing banking. I learned a lot. I grew a lot as a person, and
And now you've had a really good job for the last 12 years.
yeah, most definitely.
Dan, what would be your dream job? I know, changing the world, all that mumbo jumbo. Are you doing your dream job right now? Because mine, I see that you're a little, I don't know,
Stumped.
stroke or stumped. But my dream job, I would love to be a sports broadcaster for any sport. I just think that'd be awesome. You know?
Chad, you can do anything you set your mind to.
Yeah.
You can make your dreams come true.
We live in Central Point, Oregon. Where do you think I would do that from here? I mean, yeah,
Well,
maybe
we'd
I could
probably have to move.
I could call Crater Games. You just told Dan you wouldn't want us to be moving
No,
or traveling,
you're
right? So yeah, I think that'd be so much fun though to be one of those guys that is either like a Dan Patrick Sports Center type guy or someone that's actually just not really color commentator talking about the games. Although that'd be fun too. That'd be cool. Boom! Great job. Awesome catch.
You could, watch all the live games and report on that.
Oh, Scott Hansen from Red Zone. Isn't that his name? Scott Hansen. The guy who hosts Red Zone.
That would be a tough job. You're watching so many
I'm sure
games.
that's way harder than I would imagine, but man, that would be fun. Just
Haven't
talking
you always
about
said that
something
you
like
thought it'd be interesting to be a teacher and maybe a therapist or
Dan-
psychologist or something?
Yeah, I would like to do both of those too. I'm not smart enough to do either one of those, but that would
We
be cool.
called it, Dan.
Yeah, I know. We already had this discussion earlier, but no, I am not smart enough to
Yes,
be able
you
to.
are.
No, listen. I'm not I could be organized enough
You're saying
to
you
be able to
couldn't
do something.
pass and get a degree.
That's what I'm saying.
Only smart people get degrees. This is what you're telling me.
Either smart people or someone that is highly motivated. I don't have that motivation
You
at
can go on
39.
that, Lord.
I don't have that motivation right now to be able to go
online. I mean, you see what my life is
Maybe
like,
not the motivation, and you spend a lot of time with your kids.
which is part of it.
Right,
You got
but I
sports
know you
coming up.
could do it though. Like if
Yes.
you had the time and the means to do it, I know you could do it. You're not dumb.
But to answer your question, I am dumb, and yeah, being a teacher I think would be great.
I'd let you teach my children.
I think that'd be really neat. I would like to be, it'd be cool to be like an elementary school teacher, and then also get into like PE if that's even a thing
You
anymore.
want to be a PE coach?
Yeah, I think that'd be excellent. I think that'd be fun as hell. Jeremy, my friend Jeremy Hawkins, that's what he wanted to do when he was a kid.
I think it's really cool just to, I mean, now that we've coached a little bit of youth sports, I think that I could see how that would be rewarding and just get to have fun with the kids basically, but still kind of teach them some life skills and teach them to be active and play games. And it's the fun part. You don't have to teach them how to do fractions. Fractions suck.
What is a fraction even? It's like the podcast I was just listening to on Armchair. It was, how do magnets work? So they went into the whole thing of how magnets work. And Dax is like, well, I mean, obviously I know how because I'm not stupid, basically. I'm like, well, call me stupid, see?
Yeah. Call me stupid also.
Yeah.
Dream jobs.
So I would probably say kind of two different ones. More of a independent, just punching the clock, mind numbing on my own type of job.
Oh, God, that sounds awesome.
I loved running the Sander when I was in Boise. I 100% believe I would be there to this day. Had the recession not hit and we gone to one and still doing one. Or being an executive.
Of what?
Of anything. Of more like, manufacturing is obviously my background, but more of a, what I consider a shot caller, where I'm deciding kind of how things go, who gets promoted, why they get promoted, what makes someone good, kind of helping the people where I can help them. That would be kind of my dream job of just looking at the big picture.
So even a plant manager would kind of be in that role, right?
It would be. I've questioned whether I'm smart enough to do that. That's one reason I took this. Is I think
Why is it okay for you to say something like that? Every time I say something, I'm like, oh God, you just think you're so
smarter than me.
Stupid.
You love to correct my spelling errors, so
I mean, your spelling was pretty rough.
Yeah, it is. It needs some work. You're getting better.
Common sense,
there.
Whatever, big picture. Look at the big picture things. I don't like the small little details and the day-to-day grind. It's kind of, okay, how are we going to make this better, whether it's a process, whether it's people, whatever it may be. How do we make this better? Who can help us make that better? Who would be good for the people? Who would be good for this position? I think I'm reading people and kind of judging characters, I think is a strong suit of mine. So, yeah, like an executive type level.
I agree. I think you can judge people well.
Yeah, you have that intuition, that like sixth sense. I can't say that right now. Sixth sense per se. You both have that really well. You have a good, you're laughing at my speech. You guys have a really good feel for people and good vibes, bad vibes, all that. And you know how to converse with people by kind of seeing how they are. And I always joke with Chad and tell him, I'm like, you can get anybody to talk to you. Like I tend to be a little more, quiet in the beginning, especially, but I feel like over the years I've gotten better, try to make conversation with people. But like a person who might not say much to me, Chad talks to them and he'll get their whole life story, or they'll just like spill.
Right. I mean, Chad's a
heart out
salesman
to
for a
them.
living, and he does well with that.
And he's really good at that.
I
think
would be
that's
more
cool.
like, I want to be more like behind the scenes.
But
If that makes sense.
getting people to open up is very simple. You just ask. Like you have a hard time just asking, and that's sometimes every one of us have moments to where we just want to express what's going on. We just want someone to listen. We don't need an answer. That's what I do with people. You just ask them.
That's why I like talking to you, because you listen and you ask. You ask how I'm doing. You give me like 10 minutes to vent. That's huge.
Babe, do you have a dream job?
I think it would be really cool to be I don't even know what you really want to call it, but a fitness coach or some kind of a coach with nutrition and exercise, fitness, health. I really like all of that. And I know that's not necessarily dream job status. I know I could make that happen if I wanted to, but I don't necessarily have
there's no right answer for a dream job. It's what's.
What do you mean status? Again, I like the mind.
I think it would be like for example,
your dream job.
Okay.
It's not the general consensus on a dream job.
No, I know. I think it'd be really cool just to, I don't know if this goes along with what you said, Dan, but like just wake up and say clock in and then just do whatever I want to do. Basically, okay, I'm going to have a group of runners at 8:00 meet in the neighborhood here. And we're going to run 3 miles. And a little while later, then have another group of like have a running group or have different exercise classes or stuff like that, but then still be able to do my family stuff that I need to do. And so I know that's achievable. I don't think that's out of reach. I guess when I think of dream job, I feel like it's maybe something that's out of reach or unachievable. But
yeah, I wouldn't interpret it that way. It's just something you'd really like to do.
There's lots of people who do what you just described. So definitely not unachievable.
And I like that gratification of helping people and making them feel better. But I don't know.
And how you reach your dream job's a little bit different too. Like honestly, I didn't envision doing sales when I was younger, but if my job paid $250 a year, this would be my dream job because of the money, not because of what I'm doing. It's just because what's happening.
Money's a huge influence.
For me, it is not for everybody,
right.
But for me, that would be enough to be like, okay, this is great. This is the dream, living the dream. We are living the dream anyway. Just want a little bit more money.
Yeah, well, especially with how much things have gone up lately, it's insane.
Shittiest thing that you've ever done at your job. Can you think of anything like that? Because Dan used to give me a hard time. Like, have you ever stole anything? So for me, when I worked at a big box store, it's a pretty popular one. I was a cart pusher.
These are the good old days.
Yeah. That was my job.
Chad had a lot of good stories.
That was my job to push these carts into the store. Well, it just didn't work for me when I was 15. I went through most of my jobs when I was 15 to 17, I think. So we had a McDonald's right behind. Most of the time I'd be out in the parking lot, and then I'd just go back to the McDonald's on the clock and just eat. And then the one that Dan gives me a hard time about all the time is there would be a few days where I would just go home. They had no idea. That was back in the day when they weren't checking on you. I mean, there was just no way to check on you. So I'd go home for like 2 hours, then I'd come back and I'd be there for 30 minutes and then I'd clock out. Eventually they caught me, but it took like 7 months.
You were there a little while.
It took like 7 months.
That's
and I was
a long time.
I was doing that gig, and then the supervisor brought me in. He's like, "Do you really want to be here?" And I said, "No."
And you were honest.
That dude was so shocked. I think he was wanting me to beg for my job, and he's like, "Okay, do you want to sign the paperwork to quit?" Yeah, yes, I do. I mean, I milked this for 7 months of being at home and eating at McDonald's, so those cheeseburgers were good. Have you guys ever done anything like that at work? Ever stolen anything? Ever worked, just done something shady?
I mean, I've borrowed like supply items in the past, but
nothing shady.
Nothing.
I honestly can say I've never done anything shady. I literally,
I hate you guys.
I mean,
at my last job, if I wanted to, I could just sit there and just watch Netflix all night long, and they wouldn't even know.
Well, I was gonna say,
but I didn't do that.
something
Is what
like
I'm saying.
that.
I could, but I wouldn't.
Oh, really? You've never played Woody at work before?
I usually don't go on my cell phone. No, I don't play with my cell phone a lot.
You've never made supply. If no one can see me right now, but quotation, you've never made supply runs that you weren't actually going to get supplies?
I did that at TP. I did do that. But I would also go to the Medford plant and then talk with them, which is, again, how it helps. I go to the main plant.
I love it. I love it.
I haven't done anything.
You guys have done nothing. I've sorted shit and eaten cheeseburgers at the big box store, and you guys are just saints.
I kind of feel like I should have had that fast food job experience.
Well, I didn't work at the fast food. I just ate there.
Fast food. I worked at fast food for 2 weeks when I was like 16, and then got a better job at Albertsons across the street. I guess. Oh yeah, we're not supposed to say names. Whatever. I don't care. They can sue me.
I think you're allowed to say who you worked for.
So I worked at this place, and it was a hard job working at fast food.
Oh,
I mean,
no doubt about it.
And then plus that I
Seems like
had
it would be.
I had like the supervisor and then a manager who were the worst type of human beings I've ever seen in my life. Screaming and hollering and doing, and it's just fast and going and this and the register, and you can't hear, and it's like, it's a pain in the butt. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it just kind of depends, I guess, on what you liked or didn't like. I mean, it's perfectly fine and doable, but like McDonald's employees, they should get paid more, I do believe, yes.
I actually did have a department store job one time, and I actually liked that because I got to check out cashier a little bit, but then I worked on the floor. So it was kind of boring at times, but there was always something to do, and I was always I was moving on my feet. To me, that's important. I have a desk job right now, which I think it kind of makes it to where I don't necessarily love it. Like, I like to move a little bit more. I do have a stand-up desk, so I can stand up, but it's just not the same as moving around. When I worked in the front office, I was moving around a lot more and active and stuff. But
I love driving forklift because it was fast paced. But again, my back didn't love it, so
I'd be running people over if I had to drive a forklift.
It was always I liked.
That'd be hard.
Oh God, I gotta bring you into the warehouse one of these days.
So way back in the day when my grandma used to have, she used to work a lumber yard or something. And so we got on the forklift, and I remember kind of maneuvering it a little bit, and it was so hard. It was just so confusing, and
it gets
you have to move opposite. And yeah, I would totally ruin all your stuff at work.
Yeah, like you said, Dan, there's a lot of jobs like McDonald's and fast food where these people should be making more money. I mean, some of the jobs that we've talked about here tonight, we should have made more money. I mean, they're construction workers who are dealing with the weather all the time, all year long, and having to be able to lift 4x8 sheets that I probably still can't lift all day long. It's crazy to me, and it sucks, but yeah, it is what it is. All right, so we got another fantasy football draft coming up soon, so I'm going to ask you guys one more question. Do you have any bad boss stories to tell? Have you ever had a boss that was just a dirtbag shithead? I mean, so for me, I had a boss one time that he was that type of person that would preach. What's that saying? He would preach, but not. He would
practice what you
doesn't
preach.
Practice what he preaches.
Doesn't practice what he preaches.
Do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah, that drives me nuts. I mean, he would go out. I remember when I was at my current job, I would have to go out, and you'd have to break down the warehouse, and you'd have to cut boxes. And I cut the boxes, and I thought I did a good job, and I swept, and he came up, and he's like, "That's not how you cut the box." And so he showed me how to cut the box on the sides instead, and he went over every single box. And then I would never see him do it that way too. And he would come back, and I was washing up stuff and repairing machines and stuff, and same thing, he'd be like, you missed this little spot right here. And then I'd see him do a machine, and it was never done like that. And then the one time, it wasn't me, but it was one of my coworkers. This poor kid went to the bathroom, washed his hands, got some towels, paper towels, and put them in. Our boss went back in the bathroom, took the paper towels out of the trash can, and hung them up on the wall, between some coffee. And he said he brought my coworker out, and he said, "Do you really need to use this many paper towels?"
What?
Yeah.
There's a lot of that.
And I'm like,
there's a lot of that.
That's crazy town.
Yeah.
That's crazy town.
I've never
to
heard
dig
of
in the
anything
trash.
like
That's kind of where I'd want to be the executives. That's not a good boss, and they don't need
No,
to be.
and that's not motivating anybody. That's just...
That's micromanaging OCD.
You're beating them down.
That's
and then they're
OCD.
not going to want to be there anymore at that point.
No. Be like, peace. I'm out.
Anything for you guys? Do you have any bad boss experiences?
I don't really experience this anymore, but excuse me, I felt like over the years there's been just even multiple bosses who have when you need to request a certain day off, or you want to request a certain shift or vacation, and they prolong the answer. I mean, I know there's different protocols at different places. You put in your request and then they'll let you know if it's approved or not or whatever. But or calling in sick. I mean, I've always been that employee who I don't call in sick just to call in sick. Something's going on. Now it's either my kids or myself is sick. And I just remember feeling so guilty. They'd give you that guilt trip, or where are you going to go? What are you going to do? And their answer would depend on what you're doing and all this stuff. It's like, that shouldn't matter to you. Like, I'm requesting this time off. Do I have the time that, you can pay me for it? And does it work out for, if not, when can I take that time off? And just, again, the guilt for requesting it. And then, just like the 50 questions, but it was just, I don't know. Have you ever been given a guilt trip for requesting time off or feeling sick or anything like that?
I have.
Sorry, I was trying not to sneeze.
I was having technical difficulties over here.
No one's going to look at that. I want to hear that.
So, for me, like the guy with the paper towels, as you said, or a boss who's screaming and yelling and asshole, those are fine. Those are easy for me to deal with. I'll just give that back tenfold. The worst kind of boss that I've had has been more on dealing with like the upper management side of, they care about your growth. They care about you. They're trying. It's just phony baloney BS. They do that. I remember I had a boss that, questioned my loyalty because I put in for a better paying gig on a different shift, and I got basically the guilt trip, whatever. My younger, naive self listened to him and, oh no, I'm committed. Whatever and I do whatever they said. Mm-hmm. And the first chance he got to move up and leave, he was gone. That is where, like, I very much, as a boss, as a floor dog supervisor, or whatever role I'm doing, even now, it's do what's best for you and your family. Do what you want to do. Mm-hmm. And these are some of my greatest employees that make me look good, get me big numbers, get me pats on the back, but I'm encouraging them to leave if that's what they want to do. I'm encouraging them to, whether it's moving to management, maintenance, something. If they want to, I encourage that. We'll be fine. We'll take a hit, but we'll be fine. Mm-hmm. They need to do what's best for them. I don't like the pretend like I'm your friend and this and that, and then they just talk crap. I know, like when I went up north, a lot of these people, they talked a bunch of crap about me down here, and yet here I show back up 2 years later like, oh, no, like we didn't say that. Like, I don't hear that, from different friends and colleagues. I mean, it's the phony baloney BS. People read through that quickly.
Yeah, nobody likes that.
Nobody likes to be the worst boss.
Yeah, I agree.
Pretending to be nice, and you're just... You're a cocksucker.
That to me is the worst type of person, period. Away from work, just in real life.
Yeah, it's just...
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I also just don't like the crap. I mean, people are always going to talk, no matter where you go, what you're doing. Politics everywhere you go. People being favored and what favorites and stuff like that. But I've worked in, like small offices, especially like it could be with men and women. My experience is working with women, and there's just like basically a lot of gossip and this and that. And that's like the hardest thing to deal with. And like with working with people, and then you go to it almost feels like you're a child, and you go to the mom or the dad, whether you have a female or a male boss, you go to them and you're like tattling basically, like, well, she did this and she made me feel like this, and and it's her, or I feel like I'm the one who's doing all the work and they're just pretending to work, and I should get paid more than they do, and it just, I don't. Luckily, the role that I'm in now, I don't have to deal with any of that. So I feel bad for people who do have to. I mean, it kind of teaches you some people skills and life skills, I guess, and how to communicate and deal with people, but it's hard. It's not fun. It's
And
stressful.
unfortunately, it kind of hardens you too, where you just don't trust people. Then,
Yeah,
and it's just-
exactly.
it becomes a miserable environment.
Right, we're
I
not
think that's
here-
why a lot of people like remote work now and different things. They don't want to deal with the BS.
And some people think, oh, we have to be besties because we work together.
Well, that's
And
your
it's
first major mistake.
And
right
it's
there.
like, no, and that's one thing that I have learned over the years. It's like, I just want to get along. I want to work well together, work as a team or whatever it is that we're doing, and then leave. And if we can get along and be friends also, then that's fantastic. But that's not
bonus.
Yeah, it's a bonus, but that's not my, that's not on my priority list anymore. You know, I want to get along, get the job done, get out, get to my family and move on with life. So,
Okay, well, that's our episode of our job experiences. Dan, do you want to tell anybody any ways that they can reach out to the great Dan Holden? How do we follow you? What are you on?
You don't. I'll find you. You don't find me. I just find
I'll
you.
find you.
Dan Holden, TikTok star. He
Can I send off though? I want to do. I've heard this a lot on the podcast, and I want to give it a try.
the sound off?
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
Our spiel?
No, I'll let you do the spiel. I just have one little thing I want to try.
What's your sign off? And then I'm going to talk about. Wait, why don't I tell people where they can find us again? That
There you
kind
go.
of all
There
that
you go.
BS, and then you're going to
Yeah.
do your great spiel.
Ask for your sponsorship.
Oh man,
We're on Spotify.
Anchor,
Instagram,
Facebook,
Apple.
Email us at
Google, Stitcher, all that crap.
Days
that you
Go
wanna
By
find.
Podcast at
Oh,
gmail.com.
do that. Yeah, we keep doing blogs. Go on there.
Check out the new website.
That's what we just said, idiot.
I was
Same
talking
thing.
about email.
Right.
Oh,
Blog and email.
Idiot.
Idiot. Dumbass.
I told you guys I was stupid. That was my whole thing. I was trying to get this the whole time to finally get you guys to say
But
that I was
teacher, you
stupid.
just gotta remember
and I
things.
succeeded.
That's it.
You both said I'm a dumbass.
Just remember things.
All right,
I-
daysgobypodcast.com.
Ay, Dios mío.
All right, Dan, send us off.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.